I see a lot of faces that I already know and some new faces, but it's nice to be up here, and I'm honored to speak at my alma mater here. Catholic Central holds a very special place in my heart, and it was probably the most formative years of my life, so it's really cool to be back up here. I'm here to talk about something pretty exciting, at least to me. It holds a special place in my heart. I'm actually an athlete. I played soccer my whole entire life, but another thing that I always had in my life was video games, and particularly competitive video games. So what I'd like to do today is talk a little bit about our esports program here, kind of how we started, why we started, and where we're going with it. And the how is kind of really interesting. When I graduated and I walked across that stage, got my diploma, I think I remember telling my best friend, I'll never be back at CC. Little did I know, approximately 18 months later, while I was at U of M Dearborn, I'd come back to say hello to some teachers. Oddly enough, one of the teachers I came back to say hello to was Mrs. Levins, my computer teacher in Photoshop. And while we get to talking, we were talking about esports and kind of what I've been doing in college. I've been running some semi-professional teams and working in esports for a little bit. And she came up with the idea of starting an e-gaming club. I think Mike Carrier and some other people bounced this idea around. And I remember saying, oh yeah, I would love to help out, but in the back of my head, I thought, that sounds terrible. I don't really want to come back to my high school and be a club moderator. I had some other plans. To my kind of astonishment, a couple months later, sometimes things take time, I got to meet with our incredible president, Ed Turek, our athletic director, Aaron Babitz, who I knew from high school, and they actually laid out a vision for something a little bit different for this e-gaming club. They thought about kind of what would it be if we added this to our athletic program? How would we kind of formulate this into a varsity sport? And really, I got to give credit to Mr. Babitz. I don't think there's many athletic directors, probably in the country, that would just come out and kind of accept this. It's definitely a little bit different. But as he's got to see from coming to some competitions, there's definitely some athletic component to it. It's maybe not necessarily exactly the same as traditional sports, but with reflexes and whatnot, there's some aspect to it. So for those of you who don't know, esports is competitive video games against other high schools. So that's what we've been doing here. We started it 5 years ago, and we started kind of in a humble abode of our media center. I remember getting all of the computers out from California, unboxing them, setting them all up, getting ready for tryouts. The date was March 13th, 2020. I don't know if you guys remember that day. It was the day of the pandemic, so everything shut down. I got an awesome phone call from our athletic director, and he said, hey, Steven, how does it sound to be carrying the torch for Shamrock Athletics? Nervous, obviously. We went ahead and started an online server to communicate with our students, and throughout the pandemic, I got to meet the kids online. We did tryouts, we formed teams, we competed in any way we really could through the pandemic. So that was a cool moment, and kind of the start of us realizing that esports had potential here, and we could really pivot and do a lot of things with it. And kind of one of the things that we envisioned when we started this was, what was the end game for the program, right? And I remember us talking about winning championships, of course. But really, the why was for the students. I'm sure you guys know this already, but more than likely, if you had a son who came through here or went to a different high school or college, you probably played video games at some point. The stats are kind of astounding. It's like 97% of young males play video games. And we wanted to look at it in a different light. How could we kind of make this a positive thing? My dad's sitting somewhere in the back, I don't know where, but I definitely remember a few times when I've been playing and whatnot. I had good grades, but I tend to like to play some hours in video games and kind of being asked to get off or something to that extent. And I played with friends, and I think maybe there was some disconnect with people in terms of, what is this? How does it connect to you? How do you kind of get involved in it? So I think the one thing that's really positive about having it at a school, and I always tell parents this, is, all right, let's say your son's playing in the basement or in his room, and maybe he's got his headset on and he's playing with friends, and it's a positive thing, it's a cool thing, but how much cooler would it be if you could play in an in-person location with your brothers, and you guys could learn how to compete against other schools who are taking it seriously. You could learn communication, learn how to fail forward, learn how to conflict resolution. I mean, believe it or not, I can remember quite a few fights through the years with teams and stuff. And that's a good thing. You want to be able to learn how to communicate and deal with people that you have differences with, but have the same goal. So I think that's where the competitive aspect and making it a varsity sport and taking it seriously, really the kids bought into it right away. And they just treated it like anything else that we do at Catholic Central with the same standard. And we got to see that throughout the years. There was kids that have come here, and I see parents here that have kind of got to benefit from the esports program too, and their kids, and college scholarships have been really prevalent. When I first started, it was 40 colleges throughout the country that were offering scholarships for esports. Today it sits at about 500. So that was 5 years ago. And 10 years ago, this wasn't a thing. So it's been really cool to see the growth of esports and kind of what it's meant for everyone here at the school. And I'm very thankful, because I don't think there's many places where you could go and convince administration. Father Fulton, thank you. Ed, thank you. Last year we did something pretty incredible. We invited another school out to play us in Rocket League, which is a pretty friendly game. It's basically soccer with cars, and you try to score goals on the other team. But we put this in front of the whole school, and kind of to my astonishment, the kids went ballistic for it. It was probably the coolest thing I've been a part of in esports, and I've seen professional events with 60,000 people. So that was really something special. So special that a couple weeks later, during Thanksgiving, I get an Instagram DM from ESPN. I didn't really think it was real at first, but oh well. The rest is history. ESPN and SportsCenter, along with House of Highlights and some other outlets, actually pushed out this 60-second video of our kids getting excited for Rocket League. It had 25 million views, and really the publicity from that kind of excelled us to the next level with esports. There was other high schools and colleges reaching out, which was, how did you guys get your students to do this? And I kind of told them the truth. I don't think it would have worked anywhere else besides Catholic Central with our school spirit. So that was when I really saw that this could be something special. Later on last year, we were actually able to go on and compete in Rocket League, and a team that was 4th place in the fall actually went on to win the spring state championship. There's 2 seasons to esports. It's the only sport that's all year round. We compete in the fall, and in the spring it's 2 8-week seasons. So on our last chance, we go ahead and we win the spring championship. And I didn't really think much of it. I thought, okay, that's a really great accomplishment from a team that was 4th and didn't really know what they were doing in the fall to doing that. Qualified for nationals and went through. And really just the way the kids bought in and the amount of hours we put in all the way leading up through summer to win the state championship, that was when in the back of my head I just went, you know what, this is a real sport. There's no other team that would have put that many hours into something and a common goal. And it was just really amazing for me to see. So we went ahead, and when we won that, it really kind of changed everything for us. So kind of leads us to today a little bit. Obviously started in the media center. Then we went upstairs to the track on the gym. If you guys came through the building, you would have seen esports kind of at the heart of the school. I think there's a reason for that. It kind of blends in athletics and academics. The STEM ties are there for the students, where we get these guys on computers to learn digital literacy and kind of, how to be an online citizen almost. And I think that outlet for them is really important too, to kind of learn, what it's like to be in the digital age. So it's athletics, but it's also getting guys interested in STEM in a certain way, which I think is really cool. Obviously it's pretty shiny and the RGB lights are cool, so it kind of catches everyone's eyes. But it's been great. People come in and walk in and kind of say hello, which we haven't had before. We're just looking to excel and kind of make esports the next big thing. I've been lucky enough to travel kind of across the country and look at colleges doing this, other high schools do this, and I can definitely say we're doing it at a really high level. So, and that's thanks to everyone who supported it here. A little bit today that I want to share with you guys too is we're always expanding with the esports team. So we started with just 4 teams, and the 4 teams are broken up into different video games. And today we're standing at 8 different programs within the esports team. It's around 17 different individual teams when you break up varsity JV club. And there's over 70 students that compete rostered on the team, and probably another 120 that I see on a regular basis. They sneak into my room and Gil's room and try to just really hop on and play, which I actually love seeing. I think it's good for the program. This past really month, actually, I was really fortunate to get some equipment in for sim racing. Believe it or not, but a freshman, really bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, just comes to me on the first day of school and he goes, "Hey, I got an idea for you. I want to start sim racing at this school." And I went, "Okay, all right, that's going to be something new, and I don't know where we're going to put it." But I was excited, and I wanted to see kind of what it would turn into and what it could be. And thanks to the generosity of actually that family, the Olson family, thank you very much, we're able to start a sim racing room upstairs in STEM in our innovation room. So there's 4 sims upstairs. It's actually pretty realistic. It's got 75 pounds of force feedback on the wheel. It is nothing like racing a real car, or it's everything like racing a real car, but it's nothing like driving a car. I was in it for the first time and I crashed probably 20 times. It's not easy and I have no clue what I'm doing, but the kids know exactly what they're doing, which is really awesome. So that's our plan with the esports program, is kind of how are we going to innovate, how are we going to keep students engaged, and how are we going to lead them to be better men in the rest of their lives. And I think that's really the main focus with the extracurricular program that we have. I can talk about it till I'm blue in the face, but the best way to get kind of the gist of this is to hear from a student. So I'd like to introduce Benjamin Fagarsi, class of 2025. He's our Valorant captain, and he's got a great story. So I'm just